never found. Never found. Writing inspiration, we the underground. We paved the way for the famous, the underground. The pioneers remain nameless here in the underground. The majors and the players who get praise and say they made it. Ain't got say they good and polished like a diamond in the underground. When they lose touch with they roots and need another sound. The industry climbs down into the underground. We be the mom and pops, they the incorporated. They love and we're unknown, hated amongst our own. Contracts made to escape into a good like they be saying. Some lucky to get paid for a John Hancock on papers. Related to the favorite, somehow gets people famous. With no talent, ain't talent lame. There's only room for one in the game. It's still folks straight dedicated.
Welcome to What's Hittin'. I'm your host, Snookie Blaze. What's Hittin' is a series designed to get up close and personal with independent, underground artists, poets, singers, producers, composers, musicians, designers, and even entrepreneurs, and much more. Now remember, these artists are emerging and established underground artists. This is What's Hittin', and I'm your host, Snookie Blaze. Today on What's Hittin', we have a drummer, engineer, producer, songwriter. Mr. Garry Dann has toured around the world drumming for Grammy award-winning Diggable Planets, worked with people such as Jaguar Wright, Camp Lo, and many more, right?
Yeah.
So today we're here at the Boom Room on location. This is What's Hittin'. I'm Snookie Blaze. This is Mr. Garry Dann.
What's up?
And when we come right back from seeing our independent artist, we're going to be right here and we're going to interview him and get all up in his business and learn what he's been up to. You're watching What's Hittin'. I'm your host, Snookie Blaze.
Straight out of Diamond Stop.
Right back at it, I'm right back at it. They thought I was chillin', but I'm right back at it. Right back at it, I'm right back at it. Pennies in my system, so I might act ratchet. Right back at it, I'm right back at it. I stopped drinking, sir, but I'm right back at it. I stopped taking pills, but shit, I'm right back at it. I'm right back at it. I might act ratchet. Right back at it, bitch, I'm right back at it. Nothing to it when I do it. Yes, I'm quite fantastic. Know that every song I'm dropping is the type damn classic. Little nigga always get in front of mic and bash it. Homie, that's just what I'm into, cause I'm type charismatic. I can tell you truly stressing what a sight. That's tragic. Hear these ounces disappear, my nigga, like that's magic. All my goons is rolling with me and they might clap ratchet. You ain't even got to question if they might have magic. Ain't brawling, fuck a free for, but I might stab faggots. The nerve in me, I'm quick to tell a dyke that's plastic. When I'm done, them hoes be breathing heavy like asthmatics. Give you all the details, fucking right, that's graphic. Money started piling, now I like mathematics. On point, cause shit too hot, I'm like a ripe ass cactus. I treat shit like the range when you get sniped, that's practice. Right back at it, I'm right back at it.
Welcome back to What's Hittin'. Again, we're at the Boom Room, guys, with Mr. Garry Dann.
What's up?
First of all, in all the research that I did about you, it does not tell us where you are from. Where are you from?
So I grew up in Bucks County, like 40 minutes away from Philadelphia.
Okay.
So I have always been around Philly. In high school, I used to, cut school with my friends, and we would go take the train to Philadelphia, and we'd be in Philly. So I've always been, my first gig ever was in Philly.
Oh, wow. Where at?
My first gig out of my hometown was in Philadelphia. It was at this really bad place that went out of business. It was like a good first gig place, though.
Okay.
It was called Doc Watson's. It was somewhere like 10th and Walnut-ish, and it was pretty bad.
Oh, wow.
It's gone up since then. Yeah.
All right, so let's get a little personal. What was your first instrument that you ever played?
I think I got, like, there was that time in elementary school where they're like, hey, play an instrument. And I think I got a violin.
Okay.
And I didn't play it or practice it or do well or anything. And it was like, what are you doing? Why do you have this violin? I think that lasted maybe like 3 months. And then I took drum lessons through the school, like in the music department. Didn't get too into it, but then Nirvana came out.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, I need a drum set. I want a drum set. I want a drum set. Can I have a drum set? Can I have a drum set, Mom? Can I have a drum set, Mom? Can I have a drum? Like over and over and over for probably like 2 years. And, you know, eventually my parents bought me a drum set, which was really cool. And that got me.
That just took it off.
Yeah.
That's what you knew you loved. You hit that, and you had your inspiration, which was Nirvana, which was just beating all over the drums. They was very vicious with their drum set. Yes, Nirvana is one of the hottest. So yes, I can see how you could take that as an inspiration. So tell me about your transitions. Tell me about your development as a drummer, and then your transition into an engineer, producer, and songwriter.
They all kind of like fit each other, so it was like a natural evolution. Like I was a drummer, and when I was 14 I was in a band with my friends. We kind of sounded like Nirvana because that was our kind of main influence. And you know, your natural thing when you're in a band, you want to put out at the time it was a tape. We wanted to put out a cassette tape and sell it to our friends and let everybody hear us. And no one in the band really like wanted to make it. And that was like instinctual to me. Like, I want to be the guy to like set up the microphones and record our tape and like make the copies and make the artwork. And so it showed me that part of making music and being a musician is a lot more than just your instrument. It's graphic design.
Yes, it
is in there. Like entrepreneurialism and like, you know, things like that. Like if you want to make money off of your music,
you can take it very far.
And it taught me like, and then another element of this is engineering. So I worked at the grocery store pushing shopping carts. I was 14 years old, and I saved up, I think it was $400. And I bought a Tascam 424. It's like this big. It's a little mini thingy. One of these, but with a cassette inside. You pop out a cassette and you can record. And I basically plugged in a couple of microphones, and I was able to figure out how to record my first band. So I made a bunch of copies of the tape and designed the tape cover and sold them at our little shows at the YMCA. And
so you was pushing it back then. You was
it was
doing
like
promotion, distribution,
just to do
everything.
Yeah.
Wow.
I didn't ever like read anything how to or like properly learn the right way on how to do that. I just knew like, oh well, duh, you just get a thing to record it, make a bunch of copies, do a design tape, you know, do a cover and put it out. And it was just instinctual to me. So I feel like what I am even doing now with C Knowledge or WorldTown or like the bands that I work with now, it's the same. It's just on a obviously different level, a much more evolved level, but it's like the same. It's like completely instinctual. I never worked in a studio like as an engineer. I never interned in another recording studio. As a drummer, I played in other studios and recorded in them, but I was never like, I didn't follow the path of most engineers, but I also didn't follow the path of most drummers. Like most engineers, you know, they'll work in a studio or intern in a studio for a while and then eventually move up to engineer. And I just like figured it all out by myself. A lot of it was just figuring stuff out by myself.
You just learned. You learned on your own, and look what you have accomplished from
Yeah.
that. So I think you did pretty good with learning on your own. Everybody don't need to get a master's and all these
Yeah.
big degrees to learn out of a book when you can put your hands on it and learn it and be just as efficient or even better.
Yeah.
So I definitely applaud you for that one.
Yeah.
Now tell me, what was your first project that got recorded in a music studio?
So the first project that got recorded in a music studio was a band that I was in when I was 18 years old. So we recorded in, I don't even remember the name of the studio, but it was a really cool and surreal experience for me. It was got to see, and in those days, makes me sound super old, but in those days it was tape machines.
Mm-hmm.
So like now we're recording everything using Pro Tools, using the Mac computer, and it was pretty interesting to see the last of, not that people don't still do analog now, because they do, but they'll like record in a true analog studio with vintage gear, like, that still exists, but it was just there was something special about that moment and being super young and getting to see that.
Yeah, being able to evolve with the times and the equipment, in a sense.
Yeah.
So you just kept learning as technology grew, you grew with the technology.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's awesome. So we're gonna take a break, check out one of our independent artists, and when we come back to the Boom Room with Mr. Garry Dann, this is what's hitting, and I'm your host, Snookie Blaze. We're gonna talk more with him about more of his accomplishments and where we're sitting, the Boom Room. I'm your host, Snookie Blaze, and we'll be right back. Welcome back to What's Hitting. I'm your host, Snookie Blaze. We're at the Boom Room with Mr. Garry Dann.
What's up?
Now, he has a project where he co-writes, co-produces, engineers, and performs. Tell us about this current project.
I wouldn't say it's a current project. So you're talking about Advanced Mechanisms.
Yes.
Cool, yeah. So that's with a duo with myself and this guitar player, Adam Charlton. Mm-hmm. And it's like multi-genre, a lot of Philly soul vibes in there, a lot of singer-songwriter vibes, but also there's some like electronic music in there, and it's kind of all over the place. Him and I have worked together for a really long time through Advanced Mechanisms. We met C Knowledge, Doodlebug from Diggable Planets, and Adam and I from Advanced Mechanisms got to tour around the world together, not as Advanced Mechanisms, but we were in the Diggable Planets backing band.
Okay.
And so there's that connection there.
Now tell us about the current project that you're working on.
So I play drums in a band called WorldTown SoundSystem. Mm-hmm. It's a 9-piece world house music band.
Wow.
So we do like music that sounds like electronic techno music, but as a live band, and it's got elements of, it's really got a lot of Philly disco soul vibes in there. But there's a lot of house. Everything is like booch, booch. It's like
so it's like
music.
Get it moving, like burn some
really
calories.
Fun. Yeah. And we also like have a whole philosophy of bringing people together from different cultures and different backgrounds. It's a very multi-racial and multi-ethnic band, and our whole thing is like our artwork. We take flags from all over the world, all the countries, and we take the colors out of it, so it'll be all blue flags or all white flags or all yellow flags to kind of unify the nations. But the whole thing is like international, bringing international cultures together, like creating a global culture, because that's kind of what's happening in the world. Is
big melting pot.
Connected, and it's a big melting pot. So that's really cool. We played this past summer. We played a lot of shows, and we're looking at touring in the fall.
Oh wow!
And,
where would you be touring? Like what part of the world?
We don't have anything yet set up, but
okay.
we have contacts in Europe, in India. We were potentially touring in India and the U.S. We just got a bus, which you'll see when we go out back. So we're definitely going to be hitting the road.
Okay. That's exciting. I know that building to, you're going to tour as your own band this time, not as part of someone else's band. Of course, that's always wonderful as well.
Awesome. Yeah.
But your own band, your own tour bus, all around the world.
Yeah. So also we recently put out an EP. It's on Spotify and iTunes and all of the online distribution and streaming, all of that stuff. It's just called WorldTown SoundSystem.
Okay. Speaking of visions and collaborating, you brought about the creation and the vision behind the Boom Room, and you brought it to life. What inspired you to create the Boom Room?
All right, so when I was about 24, I had a 2-bedroom apartment, and my roommate at the time told me, hey, I'm leaving to go live with his girlfriend. I was like, all right, cool. I either need to get another roommate, or I need to figure out a way to make this other room make me the same amount of money that his rent was per month. And I said, how can I do that? I don't want another roommate. What can I do? So I said, at the time I had recorded 1 or 2 people for not for money, just for fun, like some friends that played music, besides my own bands. I had recorded my own bands for years up until then, but as far as like outside people, I'd recorded a few people that I got a good response from, like the sounds that we got and the mixing that we got, and so I said, hey, maybe I can record people out of this other bedroom. So I set up a desk, had a computer, had some speakers. In the closet, I built a little
So you basically just turned it into a studio.
Turned it into like a 1-bedroom kind of studio thing, and I hustled really, really hard recording everyone in Philly on the bottom level of music.
Okay.
I not necessarily on the bottom level,
but at the start.
At the ground level. Everyone who was
level.
starting out, established artists obviously went to an establisted studio, but
the underground came to you.
Came to me, and for 4 or 5 solid years, I had people coming over my house, my apartment, my 2-bedroom apartment every day, recording, and I built up a pretty decent clientele and friend base and connection base through that. Like we discussed, Advanced Mechanisms came about through that. I got to go on tour with Diggable Planets, and and that was pretty awesome. And basically it got to a point where I no longer wanted strangers that answered my ad on the internet for recording to be coming over to my house.
Yeah.
I realized this is actually to the point where I need a facility. I had never...
Because you've outgrown this
and
little studio you
It
made.
happened organically. It wasn't like, I want to own a recording studio. Seriously, it wasn't part of the initial plan. The initial plan was just like, I want to record myself in my own bands. And if I can make some side money to pay for the equipment off of recording people, that would be great. That was the business plan.
Okay.
And it turned out that the city of Philadelphia really needs a place that's not overpriced, that's accessible, both geographically and financially, and that they can get professional quality recordings and have a professional space that isn't like, you know, a lot of like recording studios like on the lower end of things, they're like filthy and like the ladies don't want to go in the bathroom because it's you know, just certain things. So like I think that Philly really needed a place that was like really on a high level of quality, but like not like some super crazy $1 million facility.
So I think that this is a beautiful facility that you have here.
Thank you.
I think you need to take our audience on a tour to show us just what the Boom Room has to offer.
Cool.
We're going to take a break, check out one of our independent artists, and when we come back, Mr. Garry is going to take us around to show us some of the things that the Boom Room has to offer. I'm your host, Snookie Blaze. Remember, you're watching What's Hittin'.
About my business, did I call you? Then why you so insistent that we talk, boo? Told you, have no interest, dressing all blue. Representing what I've been through, how I feel when I'm missing bogus reels in my mental. Got me filled with a relentless point of view. It ain't about you, so why you all up in your finger ground soon? What's going on when I'm finished?
She's a 10, hands down. She's a 10, hands down. There's something about you. Something about you. I like the way you wear your hair. I like the way you wear your hair. Ooh, I want it. Got to have it, baby. Got to have it, baby. Got to have it, baby. She's a 10, hands down. She's a 10, hands down.
Welcome to the Boom Room. This is the control room. We do mixing, recording up here, video editing, all that stuff. This is the vocal booth. It's where you would be if you were a singer, rapper. Most studios won't show you their bathroom as one of the first things that they show you, but I feel like it's very important that I show you the bathroom because it really shows you what the studio is all about. So if you want to go in the bathroom and just take a look.
My job as a family or
But I feel like this is a cool investment. Like, if I wanted to stay into like a wedding band scene, because like once you learn the music, you learn the music. You know what I mean? Like it's like
you have it, print it, you know it forever.
and that's smart that you chart out everything too. Because it's like you don't have to commit everything to memory.
Yeah, I started doing that. I did that when I was with Vision Through because sometimes we do a song and then we go like 2 years and no one requested and someone requested again. And I was looking through my notes and where's that came from? I must have lost it. I got to chart it. So then I invested in the software.
The charter software.
Yeah, it's I used to know. Word. And what's nice about it is there's different ways you can chart it out. You can play over top of it, which is really easy. And then when I do the chords, I just
So do you allow the drummers to bring in their own drums and they just slap the boom room on there?
They can bring their own drums. Only one person that rehearses here brings their own drums, but yeah,
Okay.
they can.
Do you just tape the boom room on there? Like, they got to put the logo up on there?
No, that logo is pretty stuck onto that head. It's like a permanent thing. It's not, you can't take it off and put it on. But we don't need that, the logo, if they're just coming in for an hour and bringing their own drum set. But yeah, this is the live room.
And how large of a band can this room hold?
I would say we've had bands with like 12 members. Then it starts to maybe get a little crammed.
Okay.
12 to 15, I would say at the most.
And where is the cameras located? One here?
So there's one right here. There's usually one right here on a tripod, one right here on a tripod, and one up there. And you can see the HDMI cables that go right upstairs. So this is all HDMI. So I have all the cables that can just go right upstairs.
It's wired up,
Yep.
okay. All right. I like this. And it's like nice and like you feel the energy. You're not too far where you won't feel it. You know, it's like everybody will vibe and feel that
Yeah.
music come through them in a sense.
Where is talent deeply hidden that was never found? Never found. Writing inspiration, we the underground. We paved the way for the famous, the underground. The pioneers remain nameless here in the underground. The majors and the players who get praise and say they made it and got stayed in good and polished like a diamond in the underground. When they lose touch with their roots and need another sound, the industry climbs down into the underground. We be the mom and pops, they the incorporated. They love and we're unknown, hated amongst our own. Contracts made to escape into a good like they be saying. Some lucky to get paid for a John Hancock on papers. Related to the favorite, somehow gets people famous with no talent. Like talent lame, there's only room for one.